When I was young, I always felt like something was wrong with me. Not entirely in the way that I was self-conscious, but in a way that my interests were definitely different from those around me. Ever since I can remember, I've always loved making things. I had a weird habit of grabbing the camera from my dad's hand when he would film me when I was a young child.
I know you're gonna come grab the camera, aren't you?
So naturally, he bought me my very own toy camera in 2008. However, as expected, I eventually broke it in a way I can't remember, so I had to improvise. I started using my dad's old BlackBerry to make my own movies whenever I could. These were utterly incomprehensible, but in my mind, they were cinematic masterpieces. I even started branching into a little vlogging. I filmed everything that happened in my life, even playing in our backyard with my friends. Speaking of my friends, I eventually wanted to simultaneously direct and star in my own films, so I got my dad to film me.
Hey, tell. What episode?
6.
I started my very own comprehensive cinematic universe of superhero movies I like to call X-Style. I realized my system of acting out my superhero fantasy while also barking orders at my cinematographer wasn't going to work out.
Okay, let's go.
While my superhero series was flopping at the box office, though, I got the iconic Xbox 360 for my birthday. It was 2012 and every kid in the world wanted to be a gaming content creator, and I was not left out of that trend by any means. My friends and I would spend hours in the summer putting together really bad Minecraft videos, but none of us could critique it because we were only 7. But another creative discipline was crossing my mind at this point: music. I had a premature obsession with DJ culture, electronic music, and all things surrounding it, and I even put my friends onto it. I started making my very own electronic music with GarageBand on my iPad mini. Needless to say, these were not the best tracks ever. I started posting other stuff too, and there's no amount of explaining I can do to summarize all the things I was trying to create. For me, anything that could be made into something else it was like a really terrible first version of AI. And of course, in middle school, I fell victim to the Fortnite YouTube culture. I was starting to finally learn some real-world production habits though, which would help me learn in a more conventional way. However though, what comes around goes around, and an old habit of mine started to resurface: music production. The pandemic hit and I bought up all the music equipment I could find and started making really bad indie music. But what else could you expect from somebody in 2020? I couldn't sing for the life of me, but I got halfway decent at producing for real this time. In an attempt to not absolutely humiliate myself going into high school though, I put down music once and for all. When I was making music, however, I thought there was no better compliment to it than some nice photo and video work. Just like before, what comes around goes around. At this point, all I had was an iPhone camera. Obviously, the quality was just nowhere close to where I thought it was, but it was a start. It started my biggest dive into the rabbit hole yet. When we started high school, I signed up for a film class to satisfy my desire for creating. Still with my iPhone, I learned composition, how to edit with more intense software, and got really intrigued with live broadcasting. There was an opening for audio engineering on our school sports broadcast, which I hesitantly picked up. But along with that, I actually had to cover my own stories, so I got to work on using an actual camera for the first time. I never planned on actually getting deep in the broadcast class, but I ended up sticking around through that year. And towards the end of it, I discovered yet another interest of mine: sports videos. I started making hype videos for football and woke up one morning to an email. I got a partnership with 11 Alive to cover high school football for their Friday night sports show. For the first time, my creative bullshit was actually on TV. I bought my first camera and kept pushing onwards with new sports. And eventually I started actually getting paid to do what I love. I worked harder than I ever had junior year, doing both hype videos and full coverage for the sports broadcast and doing coverage for 11 Alive.
Do the caption defy all odds.
What are you? Oh, is it the video?
And when I almost hit a point of burning out, I got asked to be the director for the sports show. We put together a 1996 Chicago Bulls type roster for this show, and it ended up growing the audience tenfold. I began my second year filming hype videos and doing coverage for 11 Alive, and barely had enough room to breathe, it felt like. But I kept pushing as the pressure of college started to feel closer and closer. Once I got into UGA, the pressure let up a little bit, but I got slapped right in the face after. I finally got a real job, as my dad said. I got hired to make a series of videos promoting job openings at the Wellstar hospitals around Atlanta. Going back to my dad, he was so incredibly happy I finally had a useful amount of money. But little did he know, I was already on the B&H website looking for my next quote-unquote business investment. I started blowing the non-existent budget of my next hyperfixation, rebooting my creative film career. I shot a short film in the last waking moments of high school and got to say bittersweet goodbye to all the friends I had made through media. After moving to college, I had a blank slate. The only thing remaining of all the creativity I unleashed over almost 20 years is this SSD I'm editing this documentary off of. Thank God I never let go of that camera in those 20 years though.